Hi, welcome to this video, and this video is our weekly FoodSense webinar where we like to answer technical questions from the week. Now this week I'm actually going to discuss a feature of FoodSense Generation 4. If you're not quite sure what FoodSense Generation 4 is, it's mostly used for measuring the hotness of chilies, but I also it's also used for measuring ginger. And it's also actually used these days for caffeine as well. So there's all sorts of, let's say, QR codes that allow this system to do alternative analytes. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to jump into the freemium versus premium features of this particular technology. So today's the 19th of January 2025. If I go quick, it's just so because there's a fair amount of content and I'd like to get this done, not like to get it done quickly, but I'd like to be efficient with your time as well. So we're going to talk about freemium versus premium. Now you'll be familiar with the FoodSense Generation 4. You've got this meter, you put the sensor on there, you put a sample onto the sensor. We've got an app. The app knows what to do because it scanned a QR code and that tells it, look, do the chili assay, for example. The app will run the meter will give the data back to the app. Now this, I realize, is not necessarily super not so much understood, but just known by some of our users, that actually what the app is then doing is actually sending the data to a cloud system called Djuli, and actually analyzing the data in the cloud. So every time you do a measurement, and I'll be doing 3 measurements pretty shortly, that data is going to the cloud. In fact, we're analyzing it up in the cloud, and on your phone you'll then get the results essentially returned to you on the phone. But just know that because it's gone to the cloud, it's permanently stored in the cloud as well. So I know that we've got a new user and it wasn't, I don't think, absolutely apparent to them that in fact their data was also in the cloud as well. Underneath this video on YouTube, they'll also put a link to Djuli, and I'll also put a link underneath our blog item as well to Djuli, so you appreciate that these two things are going on. So there's both an app. So most when you get FoodSense Generation 4, you get a manual with it. It tells you how to install the app, which is available on the App Store, on the Google Play Store, and also on the Apple App Store. But when you actually register for that account, what it's also doing is registering in a cloud system called Djuli, and this is the URL for Djuli, and I'll make sure I try and put that sort of link in around this video, underneath this video, and also on our blog as well. Because what's happening is, when you log in, what you're really doing is logging in, and I say log in, you log into the app. What you're really doing is logging into a cloud system called Djuli. So every time you do a measurement, you'll see it say upload complete, and upload complete means it's actually uploading to the cloud. Now there's everyone who's got a FoodSense Generation 4, you get a free 1-year license to the premium version. So the premium version, you get a result on your phone, and that's really what kind of people expect. And also with the freemium version, you also get a result on your phone as well. But with the premium, then there's new features, or there are additional features. There's export feature, so you can actually see how we've analyzed the data. You get a report if you want to have a PDF of the data. You can have a PDF of the data. We've got the raw signal. We've got the saved value. What was that Scoville heat unit that's saved up in the cloud? You can do comparison reports. So if you're producing, and I'll do a demonstration on this shortly. If you're testing day 1, day 2, and day 3, for example, 3 different batches, you can compare those 3 different batches. You can also discover what the dilution rate was for a particular sample. If you're kind of questioning why something was erroneous, sometimes somebody's made a mistake. You can also see the time when that result was obtained, the data which it was obtained, and also the operator. And also, it's this kind of a remote access as well, that you didn't, if you had a technician gathering results and you wanted to then later on look, you wouldn't have to go up to the instrument in any way. You can actually find the results online. So what I'm going to do now is going to do a demonstration. So what I'll do is I'll just go to an external screen here. I've got 3 samples in front of me. I'm just going to grab a pipette. I'll take the first sample. Here it is. I'll put it onto the sensor and I will run it. So I'll put it on. I will go continue. I'll choose the 1 in 10 dilution because that's what I'm doing. If you did a higher dilution, then you would have choose a different number, but it's 1 in 10. And then it's off. So the nice thing is we get this raw data in real time, so I can kind of see that, you know, the instrument's kind of running along, and that's what you should be kind of looking for. I mean, I know it's a whole bunch of peaks and troughs, but I've got a result on my phone. So both premium and freemium, and you get the premium with Djuli anyway. You get a 1-year premium license anyway. But you can see I've got results on my phone, 3,370. So that's the kind of simple, let's say, mode of operation. I just want to kind of go to my screen here and just show you that there's something called Djuli, and I'll give you this URL. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put my password in here, which I've just done. I'll log in. I got my password wrong. Right, so now I am logged in, and now what I'm going to do is I'll make a point of showing you this in more detail in a minute, because I'm very clear when I was setting up the app, when I was putting in the names where my data was. So I'm just going to go look for a cluster called demo, and I'll click on that cluster called demo, and I'll go to my machine, which if I look underneath my, when I say my machine, my FoodSense Generation 4, if I look underneath it, if I flip this over, if I take that sensor, I can do that. I'll find my, I'll find some numbers underneath here. You can't see them because they're kind of engraved, but there's some numbers under here, and they allow me to identify the machine. So this is a particular machine, and I can see my data here, tab 1. So what this allows me to now do is to sort of basically say to you that I get the results on the phone. It absolutely is. It's simple. You know, you get the results on the phone. Really no issues, let's say. But then I also get this kind of features as well. You can see that I've got feature 1, feature 2, and feature 3. So I get the raw signal, and I should call that peak 1, peak 2, and peak 3. So those are the peaks of capsaicin. Again, I always say this. I'm not trying to make anyone a particular electrochemist or anything like that. It is a fingerprint for capsaicin, and it gives you confidence that you're looking at capsaicin and something's not gone wrong. If it doesn't look like this, then you can question what happened, you know, but it looks good. You can also see the way it's done in feature extraction. You can see the saved value. So later on, if you forgot to write this down in any way, no matter, it's actually saved in the cloud. You can also, I can go into here. Now this is a little bit trickier to find, but I can go into tools here. I can go into properties. I can go into what's called VD1, and I can see the dilution factor. I can see the dilution factor. I can see I used a dilution factor of 10 on this. So it tells me what that operator did, let's say, in terms of dilution. I've also got, this is the date, 25th and 19th of January 2025. This is the date, universal time. This is 1400 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. You can see it written here as well. You can see the operator. So you can also get time, date, and operator. And as long as I've got the username and password, I can log into this from wherever I am in the world. So it gives you kind of remote access. Now, what I want to do now is I just want to go to my external for a second. I'll just hold this up for a second, actually, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go. Note what I've done. See, I've put it all in a cluster called demo. Clusters are like folders. So my data will be in demo. I'm just going to give this a different name, tab 2, because I've got a different sample now. So now I've called it tab 2. I'll go like that. Yeah, just checking, but yeah, it's still good. Right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a new sensor in, and I'm going to pick up a different sample. Right, I've put the new sample in there. I'll get a new pipette tip, which I'm going to do now. So here goes the new tab 2. So I've done a tab 1. I'm now going to do a tab 2. These are just names. All right, so here goes. I'm doing this because I want to show you some other features of the premium system. That is in. I'll go continue. Again, it's the it's only been deleted 10 times. But don't forget Djuli, and then again, you just get familiar by looking at it. Okay, I get a peak here, a bit of a trough in a minute, and then I kind of get a peak at the end. Boom, there we go, and that tells me that everything's kind of running correctly. I've got a result that's 9,570. So you've got the result there. And now I'm going to look at that data. So let me just go to my screen 2 here. And I'm just going to do a refresh. And there was another feature that I could remember that I should remember to do as well. I'll pick up a few new features. So I can look at tab 2. And I can see my data in here. I can see peak 1, peak 2, and peak 3. I can see my peak being, let's say, analyzed here. I can see my result here. Again, I can see my time and date, my operator who did it. I can also export. So I can also say tab 2 report, and I can export it. And that will basically allow me to, and it will give me basically a PDF of the results. So it's a really good way of kind of putting into a quality system. You also saw that I could have added a signature to that as well, but all the pertinent data is all saved. That's really good because you can put that into a quality system if you're running clearly, if you're in a quality department, in a production facility, that can be useful to you as well. So I forgot to kind of work to mention the report bit. But the reason I've sort of done this a little bit is I just want to, here's tab 1, here's tab 2, and I can actually compare those. What it'll do now is it'll generate a new report, a comparison report. So I can see that one of them was at 3,000 and the other one is at more like 9,500. So you can see that I can actually do reports on this, and that will have saved that. It's just updating now. Tab 1 and tab 2, save. So that's a kind of comparison report. So that's also another feature of the system as well. So now what I'll do is I'm just going to go in and do a third demonstration. So let me just think aloud a little bit. Right, so I'll grab a clean pipette, to tip that is rather. I will go done. I'll change the name to this. I'll call it tab 3, which I am doing. Tab 3. Again, notice I'm going to put it in the same cluster. That just, if you don't deliberately do the clusters, you keep getting new clusters. So I always try to save, you can start doing this based on the idea of a product. However you organize your manufacturing or your production, maybe those cluster names and these sample IDs can start reflecting that. But anyway, I've put demo in there. I've done tab 3. I'll put that down for a second. I will flip that down. I will grab a new sensor, which I'm going to do. I will put the new sensor in here, and I will get a clean pipette tip, which I will do. I'll put the third sample on, and now I will all right, that's on. I will go continue. Again, it's just a 1 in 10 dilution I did this time. I'll go start measurement, and it's running, and I'll get the peaks and the troughs, and it kind of just tells me that everything's running okay. You just get familiar with looking at this, but it's literally the raw signal being uploaded. Now it's given me a result, Scoville heat units of 9,000, and it's also said upload complete. So, it's nice and simple. Even if you're just using the freemium version, you get the result on your phone. But when you're using the premium version, I'll just share my screen with you again. I'm going to go refresh here. And I can see tab 3 here. So I can go in here. I can I can see time and date, who did it. I can see the raw signal. I can see the result. I can see the peak 1, 2, and 3. And I can, if I so wish, I could also export the data, which is over here. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to delete this for a second. So I'll remove that selected one there. I'm just going to compare tab 1, tab 2, and tab 3. So I can just get those 3. And this will allow you to start tracking things over time. You know, if you were in a quality group that wanted to kind of track production over time. So I can compare those, and it will create a new report with all 3 of those in there. So there we are. 1 low, 2 high. What I would say with that. So what I can then do then is just call that, so I know what it is, tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. And I will go save. The only reason it's saying incomplete report, by the way, is because he wants me to put more details in here, but I'm not obliged to put more details into here. So, in summary, there's premium, freemium, and there's premium and freemium version. Anyone who's got a FoodSense Generation 4 gets a year to the premium anyway. But you can see with the premium, you get the results on the phone. You also get that with the freemium. But then you've got the features. You can see the features. You can see the raw signal. You can see the saved values. You know, so if you didn't, you know, you can also do comparison reports, which I just did. You can also go and check in and see what dilution amount was actually used for a particular sample. Make sure that, you know, the people in the laboratory haven't made a slight error. I can see here the dilution factor is 10, for example. And of course, you know, transparency like date, time, and operators also saved as well. So I think I'll just summarize with a kind of, you know, so I did 3 in a row just to allow you to do that comparison as well. So if you've got any questions regarding Djuli Premium, which actually does come with FoodSense Generation 4, you got a year's subscription to that. Don't hesitate to ask any more questions. Okay, thanks very much.